The laughter drifted through the desert air like music, faint yet mesmerizing, and Naina could not look away. Hidden behind the rocks just beyond the settlers' camp, she crouched low, her dark eyes fixed on the glowing figures that danced around the fire. The settlers were celebrating something as she didn't know what, but it felt a broken bar warm, different from the solemn songs of her own people. The woman laughed freely, holding their bellies, speaking of babies yet to come. Naina's heart fluttered with the strange feeling, one she couldn't name. How did these white women make children glow within them like the moon behind clouds? Her curiosity had always been a burden and a blessing. The elders often scolded her for asking too many questions, for watching the pale-skinned strangers with such fascination. Their ways are not ours. Her grandmother often reminded her, their love is not the love of our blood. Yet as Naina watched the young wife place her husband's hand gently on her swollen belly, she felt something stir inside her chest, a longing, a yearning to understand what it meant to love like that. She pressed her fingers to her lips, whispering a question to the wind. What do they do to make the child come? In her mind, she pictured a ritual, maybe a prayer, a dance around the fire under the stars, that seemed possible, even sacred. But when she asked her grandmother later, the old woman's eyes glinted with humor and warning. Do not ask white secrets, child, she said, stirring the pot with slow, deliberate circles. Their ways confuse even the spirits. Still, Naina could not let the thought go. It haunted her through her days of grinding corn and fetching water from the stream. She would see the settlers' wagons from afar, see men hold their wives close, and she'd wonder what was the magic in that closeness. What power did it hold to create life? In the stillness of the night, she'd touch her own belly and imagine warmth growing there, a part of her becoming something new. But the thought was like a bird, too wild to grasp, too fragile to name. One evening, she followed the sound of laughter again. The settlers' fire was smaller now, their camp quieter. A mother sang softly to a sleeping child, the melody drifting like a lullaby carried on the wind. Naina closed her eyes and listened, her heart swelling with tenderness. She thought of her own mother, long gone to the ancestors, and the ache of missing her deepened her curiosity. Perhaps love was not something one was taught up, it was something felt, something shared in the silence between two hearts. Then came the moment that burned itself into her memory. She saw a man approach his wife, his hands gentle as he brushed hair from her face. They spoke in whispers, their faces lit by the flickering light. There was no anger, no fear, only a deep, unspoken bond between them. When he leaned close to kiss her, Naina gasped softly, her hand flying to her mouth. The way they touched is so simple, so honest. There was nothing she had seen before. In her world, men and women were bound by duty, by tribe, by survival. But here in Broken Bar it was something different. The night deepened, the stars thick above, and still she watched. When the couple disappeared into their tent, Naina's mind raced with wonder and confusion. She tried to imagine what it meant to hold someone that way, to trust someone so deeply that her breath mingled with theirs. So white people make children this way? She whispered to herself, a soft smile tugging at her lips. It was a question without judgment, only innocence and awe. When she finally returned to her own camp, she could not sleep. Her grandmother's words echoed in her head, but her heart beat to a new rhythm. Something had changed within her, something tender and dangerous all at once. She did not yet know that this curiosity, this hunger to understand the heart of another world, would lead her down a path that would forever alter not just her life, but the lives of two people from opposite sides of a world that refused to meet until love itself forced them to. The morning after the storm, Naina found him. The world smelled of rain and dust, the sky pale with dawn. She was gathering wild herbs near the canyon when she heard a low groan, a sound too human to be ignored. Creeping through the brush, her eyes widened. There, lying half-hidden among the rocks, was a white man. His shirt was torn, his arm bleeding from a gunshot wound. His horse was gone, his rifle snapped. He looked helpless, fragile even, like a bird with a broken wing. For a long moment, she just watched him breathe, torn between fear and compassion. Her people had always warned her about white men. They brought sickness, war, and sorrow. But something in the man's fascia, something raw and unguarded, stirred that dangerous kindness in her heart. Against all sense, she tore strips from her deerskin skirt and pressed them against his wound. The man groaned, eyes fluttering open. "Angel?" he whispered weakly, his voice cracked and dry. She startled, not understanding the word, but the tone, soft and grateful, made her stay. "No angel," she said quietly, "just Naina." She dragged him, inch by inch, to a hidden cave beneath the canyon wall where cool water dripped from the stone. It took nearly the whole day. By the time she got him inside, she was trembling from exhaustion, but when she looked at his paled, fevered face, she felt no regret. She cleaned his wound with herbs she'd learned from her grandmother Yarrow and Sagia and watched him sleep as the sun dipped low. Each shallow breath made her chest tighten. Who was he? Why had he been alone in the desert? When he awoke the next morning, confusion clouded his blue eyes. "You saved me," he murmured. She frowned at the words she didn't fully understand, but the tone carried meaning. He touched his chest lightly, then pointed to her. "You, a broken bar, saved me." This time she nodded. "You were hurt. I could not leave you." He smiled faintly, and she thought it strange how his smile softened the sharpness of his features. Days passed, and slowly his strength returned. He told her his name was Thomas, a ranch hand from a nearby settlement. His horse had bolted when a group of outlaws attacked their supply wagon, leaving him stranded and wounded. Naina listened quietly, piecing together his meaning, her curiosity burning brighter with every word. She had never heard a man speak so gently, nor seen one smile with such warmth. He thanked her every morning, even when she brushed it off shyly, pretending not to understand. At night, when the desert air turned cold, they sat near the small fire she built inside the cave. He spoke to fill the silence, telling stories of his home, his mother's bread, the smell of rain on open fields. Naina listened with wide eyes, feeling the pull of another world just beyond her reach. She asked questions in broken English, simple, innocent things about the settlers, about how they lived. One night, after a long pause, she asked softly, "Your woman a broken bar, how they make children?" Thomas froze, his hand halfway to his cup. He blinked, caught off guard. "Children?" he repeated. She nodded earnestly. "Yes, I see white women by fire, belly big. They laugh. I want to know how." The innocence in her tone made him flush crimson. He opened his mouth, then closed it again, stammering something about love, marriage, and families. She leaned closer, her dark hair falling over her shoulders, eyes glowing with fascination. "Love?" she echoed. "So broken bar white people make children this way?" He stared at her, lost for words. There was no mockery in her question, only wonder, like a child seeing snow for the first time. For a moment, he forgot his pain, his fears, and the world beyond the canyon. He looked at her truly, and something shifted inside him. She wasn't just a healer or a savior, she was a mirror reflecting the purity he'd long lost in his own people's greed and violence. That night, neither spoke again. The question lingered in the cave like the scent of burning sage. Naina lay awake, tracing the stars visible through the crack in the ceiling, her heart drumming fast, confused by the heat in her chest whenever Thomas smiled. She didn't yet understand love, but she could feel it taking root softly, silently, like the first wildflower after rain.